Hey, welcome back to the world according to Briggs. My name is Briggs. I make videos, I travel, and I've been known to use aliases at Starbucks. It's nothing like watching someone yell Cleopatra and I walk up and get my coffee. Today we're going to take a look at Arkansas and the mess that is Arkansas. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the national poverty rate was 11.8%, or 38.1 million Americans living in poverty in 2018. These states have the highest percentage of poverty in the country. Mississippi, New Mexico, Louisiana, West Virginia, Arkansas, Kentucky, Alabama, the District of Columbia, even though it's not a state, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and again, not a state, but a territory, Puerto Rico. So why are we starting with Arkansas? Last month I got an email from a guy named Glen in Little Rock who said I'd best not put Arkansas back in my mouth again after some video I made like 2 years ago. He said he'd find me, pull me out of my electric car, and crush my head. I replied, dude, how do you even watch my videos? You're using AOL dial-up. He replied, what's wrong with AOL dial-up? I said, nothing if it were 1997. He never replied. So in Glen's honor, I'm putting Arkansas back in my mouth, and we're going to take a look at the poorest towns in Arkansas. Of course, we got to start with Number 10, Jericho, Arkansas. Not far north of West Memphis, Arkansas, you have the sad little town of Jericho, Arkansas, and its population of 119 people, and that's reported as of the 2010 census. About 27% of the population is living in poverty. That's according to the same census and anyone who's ever visited. And yes, there is a Memphis in Arkansas. West Memphis. Memphis is right across the river from them. Just to save you the headache of correcting me and telling me Memphis is in Tennessee. Moving on. The average resident's yearly income in Jericho is $9,000. That's top ramen and squirrel for dinner every night type money. At least I won't be getting any angry emails from anyone in Jericho about this video. I doubt any of them have internet. An interesting thing happened in Jericho in August of 2009, 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago. One of the Jericho's 7 police officers shot the town's fire chief, Don Payne, in the hip after he appeared in court a second time on the same day to dispute 2 different traffic tickets. I guess the town's only income was from tickets or something, because there's just story after story about how the cops just gave everyone a ticket. They only have 100 residents, and they had 7 cops. One of the residents said nobody in this town can afford a loaf of bread, but we can afford 7 cops. They disbanded the police force soon after the shooting. Number 9, Fargo, Arkansas. Besides the town's boundaries looking like a 1980s player from a football video game, Fargo is an old rail town pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Fargo is located just north of Brinkley, Arkansas in Monroe County and was once home to a 6-mile section of the Missouri North Arkansas Railroad. The long, defunct rail line provided freight and passenger service from Joplin, Missouri, or Missouri, depending on where you come from in the state, to Helena, Arkansas from 1906 to 1946. Now, I'm not sure why anyone would want to travel to either one of those, much less between the two of them, but apparently they did. This railway was one of the last portions to be abandoned by the railroad in the 1970s, leaving Fargo to become one of the state's poorest towns. As of the 2010 census, the town's per capita income was under $9,000, and about 35% of the town's population was living under the poverty line. Don't move here. Number 8, Mitchellville, Arkansas. In 1980, Mitchellville had 646 residents. They've cut that in half. They now have 323. Mitchellville is just north of Dumas, which I have an incredibly hard time calling it Dumas. I always want to call it Dumbass. That's because I work with a guy named Dumas, and we called him Dumbass when he wasn't around. Actually, I think we started calling him it to his face, and he was kind of okay with it. Anyway, the town's per capita income is listed as $8,680 a year. That leaves nearly 44% of the residents living under the poverty line. A lot of the issues for this town are farming jobs that have slowly gone away. The farms are still there, they just need fewer and fewer workers because of automation. It sucks. Number 7, Zinc Arkansas. Once known as one of Arkansas's boom towns during a profitable mining period in the 1920s, it's just a shell of its former glory now. I bet you can't guess what they mined here. If you said coal, gemstone, limestone, chalk, dimension stone, salt rock, gravel, gold, silver, copper, or clay, you'd be wrong. It was zinc, of all things. The population of Zinc, Arkansas has fallen to 103 residents, as reported by the 2010 census. The town's residents have struggled to stay in their town. They have no jobs, and the town's per capita income is reported in the 2010 census again as $8,600 a year. Nearly 36% of the population is living well below the poverty line. Number Number 6, Cove, Arkansas. Yep, that's the whole name, Cove. Not Malaga Cove, Sundown Cove, Magical Cove. Just Cove. When you have the word Cove, it always has a name before it. I grew up in an area in Southern California. We had Palos Verdes Cove, Malibu Cove, like Malaga Cove was one of them, not Arkansas. It's like they ran out of ink when they were naming the place. They probably couldn't afford to buy more ink either. The town contains a Mexican food place, 2 franchise chain stores, a Dollar General and a gas station. It used to be a Phillips 66, but who knows what it is now. They change all the time. Smith Food Center is the only place you can go for groceries. The town of Cove has a population of 382 people. That was reported in the 2010 census. The town's per capita income is about $8,300 a year. 33% of the town's population is living below the poverty line. In most cases, well below the poverty line. Number 5, Georgetown, Arkansas. It's not to be confused with the Georgetown neighborhood in Washington, D.C. that is a charming area with federal-style architecture, cobblestone streets, and fashion and design shops. Georgetown, Arkansas has broken down cars in the front yard. The good news is, in Georgetown, Arkansas, you can buy a home on an acre of land with a World War II bomb shelter for under $28,000. I kid you not. It's for sale right now on Zillow. Look it up. This is the type of town a real estate agent will try and talk you out of, not to upsell you for a better neighborhood or a better house, just so they don't feel guilty. Georgetown was first settled in 1789 and remains Arkansas's oldest continuously settled area. In the 2010 census, it was reported to have 124 residents with a per capita income of about $8,200 a year. 42% of the people in Georgetown live below the poverty line. Number 4, Haines, Arkansas. Haines is one of those places you see out the window as you pass it on the highway. You probably assume that it's the outskirts of a bigger town, but you know what they say about assuming, don't you? Most of the time you're wrong, and when you're wrong, you look like an idiot. Haines from the highway is pretty much all of Haines. Haines is in Lee County and has a population of about 214 residents. That's as of the 2010 census. Approximately 42% of these people live well below the poverty line. The average income for this city is $8,057. That's not a lot of money to get through the year. The most exciting thing to do in Haines is not get hit by the train on Main Street. That's about it. Number 3, Wicks, Arkansas. Not too far from I Am Groot and just up the Baker Spring Road from Umpire, Arkansas. Yes, Umpire, not Empire. Like umpire, like guy that calls balls and strikes. Yeah, that one. Anyway, you have the little town of Wicks, Arkansas. This is what it says about them online. Wicks has historic places such as a 100-year-old city hall and a lighthouse drive-in, okay? They also have a place called Randy's Mexican Market. I'm not sure if it's still in business. And what's the deal with this place anyway? Was Randy Mexican and that's just what he wanted to name his restaurant? Was he selling Mexican food type things? What was going on? Was it a poorly thought out piñata and sombrero shop? I don't know. Couldn't find any information on Randy's Mexican Market. Anyway, the 2010 census listed Wicks as having a population of 754 residents, and 30% of the people living in Wicks live below the poverty line. The town's per capita income is $7,572 a year. Number 2, Vanderburg Arkansas. Vanderburg, I don't know. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. It's in Arkansas. It's called Vanderburg. I Am Groot. I don't know. Named after a prominent early 20th century railway dude's mom, the town of Vanderburg, I Am Groot, is located in Polk County and has a population of about 87 when the 2010 census was taken. They lost 40 people from the 2000 census. I'm thinking those 40 people looked around and said, you know, we ain't got no jobs, but we got 2 churches. We're miles away from everything, and we got a gas station that sells Frito-Lay pie on Fridays. There's got to be a better place to live, Martha. Pack up the Chrysler, we're moving. Don't forget the kids, even the new one that cries. The town's per capita income was reported to be $7,421 a year, and 47% of these residents live under the poverty line. But at least they got Frito-Lay pie. And number 1, Jeannette, Arkansas. Now, I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know if they Frenched it up and call it Jeannette, but who knows? We've come to the bottom of the barrel of Arkansas. Maybe. A lot of the county areas are probably worse, but there isn't much data on them, so we go with the towns that have more information. Jeannette, or Jeannette, whatever, is sort of away from everything. They have 2 churches and not many people. Not a single business is in town, which is fine because not many people here have money to buy anything with. This is a town that the good economy forgot. forgot. These people are still living like it's in a recession. The town of Jeannette, whatever, is 21 miles west of Memphis. That sounds good, but it's not. Memphis sucks and should be avoided like CPR from an 80-year-old homeless dude with a cold sore. In 2010, the population of Jeannette, whatever, was listed as 115 residents. 45% of them are living below the poverty line. The town's per capita income was listed as $7,571 a year. That sucks. That's bad. And you got Memphis right down the road. Really not good. Anyway. Alright, so that is the poorest towns in Arkansas. Hope you guys got some information out of it, especially if you're thinking about moving to Arkansas. My advice to you is don't. There, I'm helping you out, giving, public service announcements. Anyway, don't forget all the links below. Give the video a big thumbs up. Tell me what you thought. Please subscribe. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.